So we're back inside the cockpit. You know, the monthly interstitial show where we talk about things.
Oh, I thought we were in the saddle again. Should I get these horses out of the cockpit?
I don't know why you brought the horses into the cockpit. I've never been in the saddle, so I can't be back in the saddle.
Yeah, but I assumed that's what you were doing. You told me how you were going to introduce the show, and I was like, oh, we're doing a back in the saddles again joke. I'll get the horses.
You can take the horses, kick them off the plane, and set the saddles on fire.
Well, to be fair, they're not horses. We didn't have any horses in the airport, but I did find a couple of mules. I think they might be used for drugs.
Kick the mules off the plane. We're not moving drugs cross country
anymore.
And then set the saddles on fire.
Okay, so we'll have some blazing saddles?
Okay. An entirely too offensive movie to actually
be made today.
Yes, it's actually wild how funny that movie is.
Oh, yeah, it's a great movie. And I love how often people are like, you could never make Blazing Saddles today. And it's just like, yeah, no, they struggled to make it in the first place because it was offensive then and it's offensive now. It's taking the piss out of all of it, and it is an enjoyable movie. And, like, anytime you hear anyone that's involved with it talk about it, they're like, yeah, no, this was all completely fucking satire, obviously.
I think the people that say you can't make it today have never seen Big Money Hustlers.
Or they're the people who think everything that was being talked about in it has, like, ingrained truth in it, and that's why it's funny, not like it was complete fucking satire.
Yeah.
Taking the piss out of the people like them. Yeah.
Well, you have to remember, the majority of our country reads at a level lower than 5th grade.
I know, wasn't it great?
Something like 22% of people are functionally illiterate.
Yeah, it's honestly fucking wild.
Anyways, other than lambasting the current state of America, what have you been up to?
Basting lamb?
You've never once in your life basted a lamb. Do not lie to me.
I figured if I wasn't lambasting, I'd have to be doing the opposite of that, which is basting lamb, right?
No, I was legitimately asking, what have you been up to since last time we had one of these check-ins?
Watching a fuck ton of the Netflix Marvel shows because...
I've been colloquially calling it the Defenderverse.
Yeah, because Daredevil Born Again is canonically part of that, like picking up from that. That is its original source. As far as television media goes, and I never finished it because when it really started, I didn't have constant access to Netflix. And then there was just a fuck ton of it, and I didn't care that much.
And then then Iron Fist happened, and then
I only heard bad things.
The season 2's kind of dropped off, and then they canceled everything.
Yeah.
So, what was the point of watching it if, they didn't get actual endings?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we are both actually binging our way through the Defenderverse.
We are currently on Luke Cage Season 2.
But we have already watched Punisher Season 2, which means we have Luke Cage Season 2, Iron Fist 2, Daredevil 3, and Jessica Jones 3.
And Defenders 2.
There's no Defenders 2.
Shh, let me dream.
And we're done with the Defendersverse.
Yeah, and then we need to watch
Echo,
and Agatha All Along, and Secret Invasion, and Marvel What If 2 and 3, if there's a third one.
We don't need to watch any of those except Echo to watch Daredevil.
I'm aware.
We
will does show up in Echo, though.
We will need to eventually watch Agatha All Along.
Yeah, probably. It has Wiccan in it, apparently.
But not Speed, which is weird.
Right?
I don't know how they did it, or what the idea was behind it, but Wiccan but no Speed is a weird one.
Oh, it's just because they introduced Hulkling, and they're like, well, we have to have Wiccan if we're going to have Hulkling in things.
Have they introduced Hulkling?
He was introduced in She-Hulk. That was like a little bonus joke thing at the end. Bruce Banner introduces his son to his cousin. He calls him his son.
Okay.
Yeah, it's obviously not, but it is Hulkling. Has the warrior's wolf tear and out of everything.
I don't remember this, but I believe you.
Pretty sure. I might be fucking imagining shit, but I was like 100% certain that was the thing that was happening.
It's okay. I imagined an entire story arc in the Daredevil series, but that apparently never happened.
Fair enough. Look, I just know from the Daredevil trailers we get Muse, which means I want us to get Blind Spot, and I want him to cave to the Beast of the Hand. That way he has enough power to defeat Muse, almost kill him. The
Defenderverse, which is canon to Daredevil Reborn, replaced the Beast with the concept of the Black Sky.
Except... fuck that. They were speaking in riddles. It actually is the Beast, and the Beast almost subsumes Blind Spot because Blind Spot is having trouble dealing with Muse, and then that doesn't happen, and he succeeds, but we get a good Blind Spot run. For those of you who don't know, Blind Spot is Daredevil's sidekick, who for a while is Daredevil.
There's apparently...
He's the son of one of Daredevil's villains in the first season of... No, wait, I'm wrong anyways, it doesn't matter. I was thinking of the wrong character. But, yeah. I was thinking of the second Power Man. Father being in Luke Cage. Don't think we have any references to Blind Spot anywhere in the Daredevil Netflix show that I can think of.
I'm not really familiar with Blind Spot, so I couldn't say.
Oh, he's not nearly as good as Matt Murdock. I just wanted to show up.
What I can say is you and I have had a largely difference of opinion in regards to the openings of the Defenderverse.
I don't really like a single fucking one.
Yeah, they're not very good. So I guess our differences don't really matter because you do think Luke Cage's is the best?
No.
No?
No.
which one's the best?
The best is probably Daredevil's, I've said. It's just still not good.
Fair.
And then I like Jessica Jones. My only disagreement was I like Luke Cage's more than I like Iron Fist's.
Okay. Well,
Other than that, we were all on the same track.
Never mind then. I thought we had a larger disagreement.
No.
I think Jessica Jones is the best, though. I think it's better than Daredevil's, but, like, not by a lot.
I think visually hers is better. I think musically Daredevil's is better. And I care more about the music than I do the visuals for it.
I think musically Daredevil's feels more like a comic book, which is really weird because comic books don't have music traditionally. But I feel like Jessica Jones matches more the theme of Jessica Jones better.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, well, while we're on the Defenderverse then, I want to play devil's advocate for Iron Fist.
Yeah, it's not nearly as bad as everyone fucking told me.
It's not nearly as bad as I remember. And I have some thoughts on why that is. A lot of the stuff you hear about Iron Fist is Danny doesn't feel like Iron Fist.
That's because he's not really Iron Fist yet. Every single one of these fucking characters, first season in the Defenderverse, is really just them coming to the grasp of being their hero.
I would say Jessica Jones is even her hero before the end of season 2.
Yeah, no.
Like, Jones is not a hero yet.
That's because for the longest time, Jessica Jones, no matter what, is basically just the reluctant hero. That is her archetype. Whereas Luke Cage embraces it. He becomes the hero of Harlem. Daredevil becomes Daredevil.
By the end of season 1.
And Iron Fist becomes Iron Fist by the end of season 1.
Oh, well, maybe.
I would say he does.
I would say he's still, like, floating in that, like, nebulous realm between Danny Rand and Iron Fist throughout the Defenders, which is after Iron Fist season 1.
Fair.
But yeah, the point still stands. The reason why Danny Rand isn't the quippy hero that is Iron Fist is because
he's not the hero Iron Fist. He's the Iron Fist of Kunlun. Different people, basically. They are different representations of Danny Rand.
Yeah. I think another large part of why Iron Fist got so panned the first time it came around was strongly because of the preceding seasons before it.
Fair.
Before Iron Fist season 1, we had Luke Cage season 1.
Which was dope.
Daredevil season 2, which might be the height of the Defenderverse, honestly.
It is legitimately really fucking good.
And we also had Jessica Jones season 1, which is the best season of Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
I haven't seen season 3, so I can't speak for certain, but I can say
better than season 2.
Hellcat is not as compelling of a villain as Purple Man.
Yeah.
Sorry for spoilers.
And also, one of the huge things that got panned for was they really hyped up the fight scenes.
And
then people were like, oh, the fight scenes aren't nearly like good. Other different shows do better. Iron Fist has really good fight scenes. The fight choreography is actually really, really fucking good.
And that's the thing. When they were hyping it up, when the actor that played Danny Rand was hyping it up, when the director was hyping it up, they talked about how good the choreography that they did and they worked on was. They didn't talk about how good the fight scenes translated to film.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, this choreography, this fight choreography, the fights, they were never, which they should have been mentioning how it looked on screen because
the directorial choices were bad. They cut at bad times. They just decided to do smash cuts to different characters in the fights, assumingly attempting to make it feel more dynamic, but you don't need that. There were several instances throughout the show where legitimately just moving the camera around the fight, panning it around the fight from the outside to get that movement and to follow or focus in on the character you wanted to would have worked so much better.
To me, Iron Fist's fights, no matter how good they were always going to suffer because of the camera work. I'm going to make a wrestling comparison here. Sorry for non-wrestling fans. No matter how good the matches were between 2015 and 2021, 2022, when Kevin Dunn was fired, it didn't matter how good the matches were. It didn't matter how hot AJ Styles was, how good Nakamura was. None of it mattered because
camera work was ass.
You would get, and I'm not even exaggerating, you would get 20 or more camera cuts in less than a 30-second period.
Yeah, which Iron Fist doesn't do it that bad.
But because of how bad the camera work was, the fights never mattered, from a watchability perspective. And Iron Fist is the same way to a lesser extent.
I think one of my biggest problems is what I and a lot of people who like wuxia films consider to be basically a filmographic sin almost in martial arts movies. And that is when you use your camera in a manner that deadens a punch, by which I mean you pull away from momentum. So like, a lot of the times more direct face-on shots to the person throwing the punch or going with it kind of deadens the flow because you don't get as much movement or motion to it. So it makes it feel weaker. There are a few exceptions. Normally shots to the camera basically is the option there.
Is that maybe why Jessica Jones feels so weak in Defenders?
A lot of their fights in Defenders, we have a lot of head-on views of a lot of the people, but she is also legitimately just not tossing people as far.
That was spinning off from talking about Iron Fist getting overrated. That was my biggest qualm with Defenders on the rewatch.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones and Luke Cage too, to a certain extent, both feel like they're hitting much softer than in their respective seasons.
I think for Jessica, at least, there's a decent meta argument
that she is holding back.
That she's holding back because even when we get into her season, we see she is struggling with the fact that she killed Kilgrave.
Which is hilarious because in season 2 of Jessica Jones, and this is spoilers for like a show that's 7-8 years old.
Yeah.
But in season 2 of Jessica Jones, at a point she's being haunted by Kilgrave in her psyche. It's not an actual ghost. But she's like, well, he's like, well, now you've killed 3 people, and she's definitely killed more than 3 people because.
In Defender, she knocks like 4 or 5 guys off an elevator in an elevator fight scene, an elevator that is ostensibly 10 stories tall.
Yeah, and she's knocking them straight down an elevator shaft, and then later drops that elevator on any of the people that landed down there.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, it's not she didn't have a choice but to drop the elevator. Yeah. Because she's strong, but she's not holding an elevator that had its cable broke forever strong.
Yeah.
That's more like a Spider-Man feat.
But I think legitimately just the camera work deadens a lot of things. We get too close in a lot of shots, and being too close in a fight scene can be really good if you're trying to express the emotion affecting the character. But if you're trying to express the power of a movement or the speed of a movement, being too close, you effectively make the object in your frame too large.
Yeah.
So you're either not seeing enough contact, or because this larger object, while still traveling at the same speed, is larger, your eye perceives it for longer and more noticeably. So it feels slower. And they do that a lot in Iron Fist Season 1. They are, in my opinion, so often way too close. And I think, arguably, in my opinion, one of the best examples because I feel like a lot of it feels like they're doing that because they're trying to make it feel more cramped because a lot of the fight scenes take place in smaller confined areas, hallways, small rooms, shit like that.
Yeah.
And I understand that from a point, but I think one of the best ways to, one of the best tight, enclosed fight scenes I've seen, they say, fuck it, this isn't a tight, enclosed fight scene, basically. It's from, I think the one I'm thinking of is from Oldboy. He has a fight down a hallway, and when we're in the hallway, we shoot from behind him so we see the length of it.
I don't know if I've seen all of Oldboy, but I've seen
You've seen the hallway fight scene.
I've seen that hallway fight scene.
We shoot from behind him down it. For a lot of it, sometimes we flip to the other side, depending on our momentum in the scene. And there's a few shots where we see the hallway from a entirely impossible angle with one of the walls gone, basically, looking in from the side. So we're in this long, almost 2D side-scroller view. But it makes it feel so much less narrow because it legitimately is, but it still doesn't take away from the feel of the moment because we were like, that's still the fucking hallway. It's still this scene.
Well, if I could use an example closer to home than Oldboy, and I don't mean necessarily regional. I'm talking about specifically Marvel. Marvel has had an excellent history with close quarters fight scenes when they're not doing the Kevin Dunn camera cut sickness. And that is I think it's Captain America Winter Soldier, the elevator fight scene.
Captain Soldier.
And then there's also the hallway fight scene in Winter Soldier and the staircase fight scene in Winter Soldier. Yeah. That staircase fight scene might be Civil War. I think it's Winter Soldier, though, because Cap is running from the police.
I think it's Winter Soldier, yeah.
But all of those scenes are very well done. And I know Netflix.
Even in, I think, the first Avengers movie, Black Widow hallway fight scene. It's a smaller space, but because it's very wide, it feels more open. And we are, again, shooting from behind her, but we're also shooting at a lower angle, which, again, opens the space up more.
Well, and I know Netflix Defenderverse obviously has different fight choreographers and different budgetary concerns than a Marvel blockbuster.
Yeah.
But there should be some cohesiveness in the styles within Marvel. There needs to be a Marvel style guide. I assume there has to be a Marvel style guide.
Yeah. And like I've been saying, I really don't think the majority of the issues were with the fight choreography.
Yeah.
The fight choreography that you see is good. The issue is when we're too close or at a bad angle that we don't see it very much. That's me done ranting about fight choreography in film. In a fight, the camera isn't just a tool for framing, it's a tool for movement.
Well, and I think this is also really true. Sorry.
You're good.
And in beyond the criticism of the fight scenes, which is something I've heard quite a bit, like you were pointing out, the criticism of Danny, which we already touched on, is a little egregious. And I know that I myself criticized Danny the first time I watched this. And I was a bad viewer. Honestly, people criticizing Danny for not being Iron Fist, bad media literacy. But Danny is essentially still socially within our world,
fish out of water,
a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah, it's the fish out of water trope. That's why he's bad at social things. He even fucking says it in the show several times.
Yeah,
I'm sorry if I have come off awkward or I said something wrong. I have been in a monastery for 15 fucking years, learning strictly to fight.
A monastery that is not technically on Earth.
Yeah.
Beyond Danny, though, I did have criticism the first time I watched it of Ward and Joy Meacham's acting, and I still do in the second go-through have issues with some of their acting.
I think Ward's acting gets a lot better basically once he kills off Harold.
Ward's character blossoms very strongly, like
in the back half of Iron Fist Season 1.
Because initially his awkwardness just feels weird. It feels wrong. Like,
yeah, it feels too stiff.
When you realize that he's like under constant surveillance and he's essentially being puppeted by his father.
Mm-hmm. He's worried about the hand. He has a opiate addiction.
Like all these things.
And he's trying to run a Fortune 500 company.
All these things stack up to be like, oh, this is why Ward is a weirdo. This is why he seems bad with interacting with people. It's all these tiny little things that stack up on him. And again, I criticized that initially, but I think like as you watch it and like it starts out feeling awkward, but as you watch it and he develops, it feels less and less awkward.
I would agree.
I think Joy just doesn't have an excuse, honestly.
No, I would say that, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know what the actress is doing. Her character doesn't have like that type of arc. But
I feel like part of it is that in the show, Joy's character doesn't have much of an arc. It's, oh no, I want that to be Danny. All of a sudden, no, I'm completely in agreement with Ward. That's definitely not Danny. We'll ruin him. Oh no, it might be Danny. I feel absolutely fucking horrible. It's kind of wishy-washy with the character writing about.
With her ending as a villain by the end of the season.
Yeah, with her going back and forth and like not having any hard set values on anything, it feels like.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I feel really, really bad for these people. I'm still gonna crush them under my heel because I run a corporation. And the only expression we'll really have of me feeling bad about it is I'll look slightly sad for a moment and then get angry with someone else about it and say, no, I definitely feel bad.
It's just poor writing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not necessarily the actress's fault. Yeah. It's poor writing.
Yeah.
And I will 100% take that. I think Harold Meacham also has some pretty bad writing around his character.
Yeah.
But I think that like also explains itself as we go because apparently every time you die and get revived, a little bit of your humanity gets chiseled off. Kind of like if you were to use a Lazarus pit in like a competing comic book property.
Yeah.
But he's only been revived once throughout most of the season. And so I don't really feel like he should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're saying watch Iron Fist again. Give it a second shot. Mm-hmm. Chris, we're talking to you. Give it another shot. It's not as bad as you remember.
Yeah.
And also I've heard season 2 is much better than season 1. So like I'm excited to get there because I never watched anything past Defenders and Punisher 1.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I would say overall, actually, the fight that I was most disappointed in, not based off camera angles, was the fight for the chemist's daughter, the second fight with, I can't remember her name.
The spider lady.
Yeah,
right?
she's named for some type of singing spider.
Yeah.
And that's just because we had a really nice environment set up with all the like sheets and like web-like material.
Mm-hmm. And they didn't really...
None of it gets used. It's just like, I'm a hide, but like we didn't even do any of the fake outs with it. We were just like, and now from off screen we hit with needles. And then basically once he figures on their needles, the environment does not matter.
Yeah.
It feels kind of pointless.
I will say, and this is probably just the Iron Fist fanboy in me, every time he uses the Iron Fist to shatter a weapon,
it's great.
Like I go wee and flap my hands like little, like I'm like because it's the coolest.
Yeah,
like
it's dope.
Every time he like punches a sword or some shit,
yeah,
top tier. It's like every time Luke Cage takes somebody's gun and turns it into a ball, you're like, yeah.
It's like the opposite of when I saw Billy the Butte's face as Jigsaw.
That's been a running joke between us because we watched Punisher before we get dived back into the actual Defenderverse.
So little of Punisher really ties to the rest of it. It ties to season 2 of Daredevil.
Punisher is mostly a spin-off of Daredevil.
Yeah, like, it's really just like Punisher is in season 2 of Daredevil.
And like he has some interaction with Karen later on. Like,
yeah, and there's like references to him and some of the other stuff about a guy just killing cops. Killing a bunch of people.
What was I saying?
Jigsaw's face prosthetic is underwhelming.
Yeah, that's been a running joke between us. Because every time, like...
The show has a lot of... the series have a lot of really good wound work.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, for a guy whose face is supposed to be heavily distorted and all kinds of fucked up because of it, he has, like, 4 scars and some, like, texturizing from plastic surgery.
He looks really good, actually. Like,
yeah. Like, if you manage to get that back from plastic surgery, that you still look like yourself... just with some scars?
Like, he would still draw looks at the grocery store. People would be like, oh, what happened to him? Nobody would be like, oh, what happened to him? He's ugly.
They'd be like, oh, what happened to him? I'd still fuck him. He's still damn right fucking attractive. Maybe he has some fun stories to tell.
Like, the fact that they did so little on him. Like, they had him in the mask for so long, I was like, oh, maybe we just won't see his face. That would be good.
That's fine.
Like, and then they took his mask off and basically left it off for the rest of the season, and I was like,
Put the mask back. Put the mask back.
Oh,
Yeah.
so really, you're just psychologically disfigured? Is that what we're going with?
Yeah, it's the mental trauma.
Because that's lame.
The
Like,
mask is supposed to be a representation of what he wants to look like or what he feels like he looks like. And it's a lot more fucked up. And, like, if that had been an expression of what his physical face looked like underneath, there should have been, like, some holes or, like, heavily disfigured spots that would account for the blackness. More scarring would have been so much better.
give him that little thing that Jonah Hex has, you know, where
Yeah.
part of his cheek is gone
Yeah.
and it's melted and, like, you could, like, see his tooth through his cheek.
Yeah, or give him, like, in the comics, he has, like, almost a weird, like, swirl starting in one cheek.
Yeah.
And that kind of spreads out.
Mm.
It literally looks like he got a gut shot in the 1800s and someone stitched him back up. So it's like, well, the skin torn a bunch of spaces, and instead of, like, connecting them cleanly, we're just gonna sew it all in one big lump the best we can.
Yeah. I will say, and this is totally unrelated to Billy and really unrelated to the Defenderverse, but every time we get Billy's nightmares with the skull, like, approaching him,
Yeah.
my brain went, oh, this is Riddler from Batman Forever at the end of the movie where he's, like,
Yeah.
talking about seeing the bat in his dreams. Like, I'm like, oh, this is the same thing.
Yeah.
Except, I mean, they're both mental patients, too.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is... Actually, the difference is Billy's more fuckable.
Yeah.
Even though the Riddler has no fucking, like, damage to his face.
Mm-hmm.
No offense, Jim Carrey. Like,
Yeah.
the actor they had playing Billy is a very attractive man.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think we all know, like, I think honestly, we have a very strong idea of why the scars are not as good as they are, like, not as good as other prosthetics and makeup effects in the shows are. And it boils down to the same reason why actors don't wear masks.
That's not what you pay them for.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of actors will agree to do masked or heavily prosthetic positions. And then when they do it for some time, they're like, oh, that's uncomfortable. I refuse now.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence Mystique.
Anthony
Mackie, The Cow, most recent fucking movie.
Can I don't know if you know about the train wreck surrounding Days of Future Past. Not Days of Future Past. Age of Apocalypse.
No, not really.
Okay, so have you seen Age of Apocalypse?
I have once.
Okay.
When I hadn't slept in 36 hours and was also not sober.
So Age of Apocalypse was written and cast and had started filming.
Yeah.
After Jennifer Lawrence said, I have no interest in being in this movie.
Okay.
They had started filming. And she goes, actually, you know what? I will do it.
Nice.
So cue rewrites. They start filming with Jennifer Lawrence. And then she goes, I don't want to do the makeup, though.
Cue more rewrites.
And so, the Age of Apocalypse movie we got is not anywhere close to the original scripts, which have an entire, like, Psylocke side story that we don't get in the main movie now.
That would have been good, though.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff from the original script that are no longer in the movie because they shoehorned Mystique into it. Because for a while there, they were pushing Mystique as the new Wolverine. Like, she is the main character.
Yeah.
And that's so fucking weird to me because Mystique has never been a main character.
No, not really.
She's always been tangentially, like, related to main characters and, like, circling the main plot. She's never...
Yeah. Like, she's been a major villain for multiple people and, like, had massive, equivocally runs, but always as the background party, not our focus.
Yeah.
And that's because, guess what? When you have a character whose big point is deception, you don't fucking reveal what the deception is.
Yeah. Talking about actors in superhero franchises being like, prosthetics don't work for me, mask doesn't work for me. Like, okay, I get it. Painting your entire body blue is a lot.
Yeah. Painting your entire body green. A lot. Having to sit in chairs for hours while they do work to make your skin an ashier gray and then do spirally red tattoos on it. That's a lot. Hey, you're still cool with them doing the tattoos. You just now ask for a shirt so they don't have to do it as much. Solid solution.
Batista, yeah, he handled that so well. He
was like, can I just wear a shirt? It's less work for everyone else. I get to stay warmer when we're in colder locations, and I don't have to sit in a chair as long.
I think...
Can we just give Drax a shirt? Yeah.
I think if you are, especially with comic book movies, if you're signing up, if you're auditioning for a comic book character, if you're being, and like a lot of them probably did an audition, they were like the people that the directors wanted.
Nowadays, especially, yeah.
But if you're being cast and you accept the role, one, you should do some cursory research on the character.
Yeah.
And two, you shouldn't accept the role unless you're willing to like portray the character.
Agreed.
It'd be really weird if, I don't know, Taskmaster, for instance, didn't wear a hood. It'd be equally weird, for instance, if Taskmaster was a robot.
Or, if Taskmaster looked like a Sentai character.
Yeah. Those two complaints are not actually on the actress that played.
They are on China. But, yeah.
But, like, what's a good example of a character who, like, the mask is pivotal to? Spider-Man, right? Like
Spider-Man, the Red Skull. Actor does the full fucking Red Skull. Sure, he's only in one movie for a large portion of it, but he shows up again, still does the Red Skull shit, even though he's wearing a hood for the majority of it.
Tom Holland does spend a lot of the time in the Spider-Man outfit, right? Like,
yeah, just not a lot of the time in the mask. He spends more in the mask than I would think most other MCU characters I can think of, but more and more as we've gotten more Spider-Man things, we've gotten less and less mask time.
I will say, Robert Downey Jr. gets to cheat because most of his Iron Man stuff is done with CG.
Yeah.
So he got a lot of cheating.
Fair.
Robert Pattinson spent a lot of time in the cowl in his Batman movie.
Yeah, he did. It was nice.
But it's just really weird to, like, agree to play a character who is V for Vendetta. Could you imagine?
Without the fucking mask? No.
Like, if the actor, I don't remember who played V. If the actor had been like, and that's probably why they don't want to wear masks, because I go, oh, I don't even remember who played V.
Fucking great character work, though.
But, like, could you imagine V without the mask?
It'd be bad. In fact, I don't know if we see his face once throughout the entire film. I know Natalie Portman sees his face once. Or is it Keira Knightley in the movie?
Hugo Weaving.
Oh, wait, Hugo Weaving's fucking V?
Yeah, you know.
Fucking great.
Iconic actor.
Yeah.
Hugo Weaving.
Oh yeah, no, I can't picture Hugo Weaving as V. Like, I'm putting Hugo Weaving's face there and I just go, no.
It would have been insane, and it would have been literally untenable as a story beat for him to be like, I think I'm gonna wear the mask a little less in Act 2.
Yeah,
and like no,
fucked up, man.
But yeah, it's just a wild thing that happens in superhero movies. Speaking of superheroes, I want to steer this tangent in a different direction.
Go ahead.
I recently dived back into Marvel Midnight Suns. I'm on Act 3 of that game, which is the final act, but
I have gotten as far as outside the sanctum.
Oh, you played?
Yeah, I got all the way to the Midnight Suns headquarters and went, I'm bored. Movement's so slow, and I want to explore things, but walking is so slow.
Okay, so...
And then the jog is like maybe 1.2 times speed.
Okay, so importantly, at least with exploring the Sanctum, you do get the ability to just teleport between areas.
Okay.
Fast travel. So, like, that really opens up a lot.
But
the traversal is terrible. Like,
yeah, I started traversing and I went, no. Okay, I'm done now.
My thing,
I literally made it there and I played no more.
The beginning of the game is really slow, and I think you should give it another chance. But I understand that it's not for everybody. I think the gameplay loop is like really balanced to like just transition you between the like multiple things you can do.
Fair enough. It did feel pretty fluid in the combat.
Well, it's not just the combat. Like, it's the waking up in the morning, collecting the orbs that are scattered around the actual sanctum itself, talking to anybody that has dialogue marked on them, checking the gift shop to see what gifts are available to purchase, and then choosing what upgrades to apply to characters based on what you have available. Like, if you have Morbius's genetic augmentation available, you can do that. If you have the training grounds, you can do that. And you also like open any loot you got from your previous missions.
Here we go. Instead of all that, I should just play more Octopath Traveler.
Man,
I should be Octopath.
I should finish Persona 5. I should start Octopath. Yeah. You're right. But you go from that to then dictating solo missions, like dispatch missions for your heroes. And then you go and do your mission for the day.
Honestly, what you're describing sounds more like superhero manager.
Then you go on the mission for the day, which is not superhero manager.
Yeah, you're doing it. I got you.
It's an RTS. It's not an RTS. It's a tactics-based RPG at that point. And you complete the mission, come back, and then get to hang out with one of the people you probably went on the mission with, depending on like stats. And then you finish that, you go to bed, and you repeat. Like, the cycle was very, like, well-oiled in that manner. But what I wanted to talk about specifically is playing it and watching the Defenderverse at the same time has made me go, man, I know the Defenders was already canceled when this game came out. The Defenderverse was canceled. But I would have killed for, like, a Defenders DLC set. Like, we had a Season 1 DLC, which gave us Storm, Deadpool, Morbius.
Morbin time?
And who was the fourth DLC character?
Ghost Rider.
Was it Venom? It might have been Venom.
I think it was Venom. I vaguely remember you being randomly talking about Venom at one point while playing it, so it sounds right.
I know he's a primary antagonist in the game.
Because I also think you were talking about a point how you were farther behind on friendship with him because he was newer.
Yeah, Storm, Venom, Morbius, and Deadpool. Those are the season pass characters. And, you know, not a bad season cast.
Yeah, that's fine.
Not a bad season pass. Deadpool was obvious. He's like the most popular Marvel character, sans Spider-Man.
I think Domino would have been a fun inclusion from everything I've heard you talk about the game.
In my brain, the best character inclusions we could have got would have been an Iron Fist, Domino.
Okay.
Maybe a Daredevil. Like, I could see him being a very different character than what we already have.
Yeah.
And Maybe like Jean Grey.
Fair enough.
Because Jean Grey could be in the same vein as Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
In the game, Captain Marvel's entire character is built around the going binary system, where she stacks up charge until she goes binary, which makes her do extra damage and a bunch of extra stuff. And Phoenix and Jean Grey could work in a similar vein, because a lot of characters share an overlap in some manner or another, but Captain Marvel is kind of just the only character that has two functioning different modes of gameplay.
Yeah.
We could give that to Jean Grey. But like Iron Fist could be a support or a frontline, depending on how you build his deck.
Plus,
because
Midnight Suns has both Cyclops and Wolverine, right?
Has Wolverine, no Cyclops.
See, no, you also include Cyclops and Jean, and then you include some story DLC. So like when you're in the downbeats, you just walk into weird thruple shit and feel incredibly awkward.
I don't hate it. I do not hate it.
Just walk in to talk to like Scott about something because de facto team dad. And you're like, oh, dad's making out with Uncle Logan and team mom. Awkward.
I think Storm is
I'm a go.
I think Storm is supposed to fill the team mom spot.
Yeah, Storm and Jean Grey, depending on what setup for the X-Men, are like classic X-Men team moms.
Ooh, Colossus would have actually been killer too, because we already have...
He also fills team dad role sometimes.
We already have Magic.
See, Storm is stern team mom more often than not. Like, Scott is stern team dad. And then Jean is the soft team mom, and Colossus is the soft team dad. Like, those are their parenting types.
Colossus would have been an excellent addition to the game with Magic already being there.
Yeah.
But, like, in the case of, like, Daredevil as a DLC character, they could have built him in a way where he, like, focuses being the taunt character and the counter character. Right now we have a taunt blocker, which is Captain America.
Okay.
He draws aggro and he stacks up massive defense. That's his primary archetype. We have a couple characters who do the counter game, namely Wolverine and Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
But nobody where that's their primary focus. And I think Daredevil would fit perfectly in like a utility character who does taunts and then stacks counters up.
Fair.
And then I obviously don't have to tell you how like useful or versatile an Iron Fist character could be.
Yeah.
I just feel like not having Iron Fist really missed the mark. I know he's never like actually been in a Midnight Suns run, but neither is half the characters they gave us. Like,
yeah, fair.
Venom's never been a Midnight Sun. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wish I think if it had sold better, we might have got more DLC for it.
I mean, probably. That's generally how that works.
But the game did not sell well because I was reading reviews of it before like I started binging it again.
Yeah.
Because that's how I got the urge to binge play it. It was like, I wonder what people thought of Midnight Suns when it came out. And so many people were like, I can't believe they're charging $60 for what is a mobile game. If I wanted to play Marvel card game, I would just download Marvel Snap. And like it's like
it plays so differently from Snap.
It's not a card game.
Yeah.
Like there's a light deck builder. Each character has 8 cards in the deck. So you have a 24 card deck, but it's less of a deck builder and more choosing the options you want for combat.
Yeah.
And once you're playing, you have enough cards in your hand and redraw capability, which lets you essentially discard a card to draw another card.
Yeah.
That it's less about the cards and the deck building than it is about having abilities currently available and abilities on cooldown.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels and plays like. It doesn't feel like a deck builder or a card game. It feels like a tactics RPG.
Yeah, no, playing it feels much more tactics than it does a card-based game or a deck builder. Like, Chain of Memories feels much more like a deck builder. And really, you're just building a deck in Chain of Memories, and then it's hardly really a deck builder after that point.
Or a card game.
Or a card game, yeah.
It is.
You have one element of, we build a deck, and now we don't have to touch it for like an hour to 2 hours, depending on how long it takes us to get through levels and what our playstyle is.
Calling Marvel Midnight Suns a card game is about as genuine as calling Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories or Re-Chain of Memories a card game.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at, yeah.
They're not card games. They use cards as a mechanic to represent other aspects of gameplay.
Yes.
Honestly, I think Marvel Midnight Suns would have been much better received if instead of cards, you just unlocked abilities.
Yeah.
And you could choose up to 8 abilities to take into combat per character, or you could choose any given ability twice.
Yeah, if they hadn't scanned those cards, yes.
Yeah. I think if they had done that, people would have been like, oh, this game is so good, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I'm so pissed that people are upset about the cards. And like, it's less of an issue in 2025. Like none of the positive reviews talk about the card aspect.
Yeah.
Really. But so many negative reviews, especially in that first month of the game being released, were Marvel Snap's a better card game than this. And it's like, yeah, Marvel Snap is a better card game than this.
Marvel Snap is a card game. It's
wild how when you compare something to something that is not that, the thing that is that wins. It'd be like,
yeah,
man, Need for Speed is such a better racing game than Marvel Midnight Suns.
I mean, I don't know about that. Are we talking about Hot Pursuit? Because I'm gonna have to go with nah.
It's just so aggravating. Like, anyways, I love the game. I've been playing it a lot recently. And I nearly have max friendship with everybody. I think Wolverine and Storm are the only two people left. Wolverine's not a DLC character, but you don't get him till late in the game.
Yeah.
Storm is the last DLC character you get. So those two, maybe Deadpool, I still not maxed out on yet.
Shrugs.
And then I don't have Hulk yet because you don't unlock him until like after Act 3, you can take him into New Game Plus. Because he's like one of the final big bad bosses.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marvel Midnight Sun's great. If you can get it on sale, and it's on sale a lot because it did not sell well, do it. Game is fun. If you like the gameplay loop of Persona, Midnight Suns is similar with characters you already know and comic book style writing.
Yeah, fair.
So if you like comic books and you like how Persona plays in like the game, what's it called?
The gameplay loop?
If you like how it plays in the gameplay loop, you'll like Marvel Midnight Suns. The mechanics are not similar at all. I'm not saying that.
No, they are not.
But the gameplay loops are.
Honestly, this in the cockpit has just been reevaluating Marvel media that people shout on that probably deserve at least a little bit better.
Yeah, 100%. I would also kill...
Themes.
I also, totally unrelated, well, kind of related, a bunch of games, I don't remember who the publisher is, maybe it's EA, a bunch of games, I think it's EA, that were pulled off of Steam by EA are getting updates to their Steam pages.
Nice.
Implying that they may be coming back to Steam shortly.
Okay.
Including Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1.
Nice.
And the Xbox 360 Deadpool solo game.
Pog. That game is kind of mid, actually. It's fun if you like Deadpool shtick. As far as gameplay goes,
My only point was we were reviewing, we were talking
I know.
Marvel. There's other EA games that are getting their pages updated that people are excited about, but like that's Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, and hopefully 3. Hopefully 3 gets ported from Switch to Steam if EA is actually opening their Steam shit back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think otherwise, that's been Inside the Cockpit this month.
Yeah. Thanks for taking the time to catch up with us, and hopefully you'll join us on the next flight.
And if you don't join us on the next flight, maybe it's because you're rewatching Iron Fist and realizing how wrong everybody was in 2017, 2018 when that came out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just a suggestion. But if you want to contact us,
you can do so through a myriad of ways, such as emailing us at copilotsreview@gmail.com.
Or you can hit us up on Blue Sky at copilotsreview.bsky.social.
Or you can find a link to both of those, as well as our Discord, our Patreon, our YouTube, and other things by going to copilotsreview.simplecast.com.
And until next time, I don't know where I was going with that. We'll see you on the next flight, though.